Union Berlin have had a crazy 5 years of football. In 2018, they got promoted to the Bundesliga, and since then, they took German football by storm. Especially last season, where they finished 4th in the Bundesliga, and at one point, they were challenging for the title. But trust me, boys, this season has been a completely different story. They sit rock bottom of the Bundesliga and rock bottom of their UCL group, too. Urs Fischer has done an incredible job with Union Berlin, but someone needs to get them out of this mess. Luckily for them, though, I'm available. That's right, boys, I am the new Union Berlin manager, and by the end of this video I'm going to make them the best team in the world. So this is the team I've loaded into Union Berlin, and whilst on paper it doesn't look that bad, believe me, we've got some work to do. For starters, boys, it is a pretty Asian squad, and you know it's an Asian squad when you got Leonardo Bonucci in the team. And as you can see, majority of our best players are 30 years old or above, so we've definitely got to sort this out going forward. But there are some decent players that we can try to build this team around, like striker Geraldo Becker. He's only 28 years old, 78 rated. We could turn this guy into a pretty decent player. We also have centre-back Danilo Doki. He's only 25 years old, 78 rated as well. And my personal favourite, Alex Crowley, who's only 76 overall right now, but I know this guy's got a ton of potential. Like I said, boys, it's not a bad team at all, but we've got a lot of work to do. Now, Urs Fischer uses a 5 at the back with Union Berlin, and believe me, that's the first thing we're going to change. I'm going to use the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. We've got no wingers, we've got a couple of midfielders. It is absolutely spot on for Union Berlin. And after messing around with it, this is the strongest starting 11 I can field, and when you consider what we were working with at the start, I think this looks way better. One thing I love is our striker partnership of Becker and Volland. Becker's the runner, Volland is the playmaker. It just fits the bill. And I'm going to use the tiki-taka style of play with Union Berlin. I want this team to be playing like prime Barcelona, but our budget really isn't that good. 26 million euros to spend in season 1. You think with us being in the Champions League our budget would be a little bit better, but no, this is what we got to work with. So that does beg the question, where are we going to actually put this money? Now, we do have players on loan to us like Brendan Aronson, David Datro Fofana, but I don't think they're good enough to splash the cash on them and use half of our budget, so I'm just going to leave them as loan players and they can go back to their clubs at the end of season 1. I think I want to try and improve this defence a little bit, and there's a couple of good reasons for this. Some of our oldest players are actually defenders, and that leads me to believe that we definitely need to take action on this. Especially when we've got Bonucci in the team. He's 36 years old, for God's sake. We can't rely on him to get us where we want to be with Union Berlin. I know that our budget isn't exactly the best, but we've got to make the best of a bad situation, and we've got to rock with it. Now, I'm going to start by going for Lucas Klosterman from RB Leipzig. He's 27 years old, 79 rated, and above all else, his contract is running out, meaning we'll get him on a cheap deal. But even though we'll get a cheap deal anyway, I want to give him a couple of our deadwood players and try get an even cheaper deal. So I'm going to give them Leonardo Bonucci alongside 10 million. Surely with his contract running out, they should be okay with this. They don't want Bonucci, but they want 18.9 million. Honestly, boys, I'm not surprised. So instead, I'm going to give them Robin Notch in 5.9 million. Hopefully, they actually go for this. They're going to need some time to think about it. I swear, if they come back in about 2 days' time and they say they're accepting it, I'm going to go mad. Why wouldn't you just accept it in the first place? Well, they haven't accepted it. They want 18.9 million on the dot. It doesn't look like anything we're going to do with the player swap is going to work. We're going to have to negotiate money. Now, his contract is running out, so there's no way I am paying full ball. I'm going to give you 14 million for him. 18.1 million. He's not that good. Come on. Okay, the tension isn't that bad, so let's give them 50 million and see what they say to that. 16.6 million. The tension's still decent. We're going to go lower again. Let's go for 15.5 million. There we go. At long last, they finally accept the transfer offer, and we are one step closer to getting Klosterman in our team. And there he is, boys, for 15.5 million. Lucas Klosterman is now playing for us. It's not a big name signing, don't get me wrong, but it's the first step we're taking in getting Union Berlin where we want them to be. The problem is I've overspent. We've got 7 million left in the budget, and there's one thing we haven't even considered yet. We've still got all these contracts to renew as well, and with that budget being that low, I reckon we're not going to be left with much money at all. We've now got 4 million to spend on another transfer, and that's even if we can afford one. Now, in fairness, that backline doesn't actually look that bad, so I think we can just leave that alone for now. I am concerned about our attacking midfielder role because Aronson is on loan to us, and as I've already said, I'm not thinking about bringing him on a long-term deal because I don't think he's good enough. And because we're short of money, I went to the free agents list and I found centre forward Buffon. He's 5'9", 76 overall, 29 years old, and considering the fact he's worth 7.5 million, we're about to get him on a free. I think this is an absolute bargain. And with the signing of Buffon, that is our transfer window wrapped up. And as you can see, boys, I've sent a lot of players out on loan because they just won't get game time here, so hopefully when they come back from their loan move, they'll not only have got game time, they'll come back better players. And I've also been training Buffon to be a central attacking midfielder who's going to turn into, in 17 98 rated central attacking midfielder. That is a bargain we've got for him. We've improved our defense. We've got them into a formation which actually suits the players we've got in this team. I think we've done everything right so far. The question is though, how's this team going to do in the Bundesliga and the Champions League? Because you got to remember, last year they qualified for that competition. And as you know, they're in Group C alongside Napoli, Real Madrid and Braga. And right now they're not doing too well in real life. So to be honest, as long as we haven't finished bottom of the Bundesliga and the bottom of this group come the end of the season, I won't be too bothered. So season 1 is wrapped up and we finished 8th at the end of this campaign, man. A far cry from where they actually are in real life. And Bayern Munich obviously went on to win the title. We were 31 points behind them in the end. We got some work to do if we want to win the Bundesliga title. And we only made it to round 2 of the DFB Pokal. So it's not just in England we're terrible in domestic competitions, it's just all around the world we are. But unfortunately in the Champions League we finished 3rd in Group C. I mean, we didn't finish bottom at least, so that is something. This does, however, mean we are in the Europa League now, so maybe we did do alright in that competition. Nope, we definitely didn't. We got annihilated by Sparta Praha 6-3 on aggregate. Yeah, we are nowhere near where we need to be yet. But in fairness, we're getting there because the improvement from some of these players this year has been pretty damn impressive. But believe it or not, our left wing back is our top goal scorer with 15 goals from 39 games. All I can say is our strikers seriously need to wake up next year. But the important thing is we have done way better with Union Berlin than they are doing it in real life. But if we want to get back into Europe next year, we've got to make some improvements with this starting 11. But before we go any further, if you enjoyed the video so far and want to see more content like this, leave this video a big old like and smash that subscribe button. So it's now our 2nd year in charge of Union Berlin. We've got 42 million to spend in season 2, which is way more than we had last year. And when you look at the starting 11, whilst there's been a lot of improvement since the start of season 1 to now, we've got to make more improvements if we want to get into Europe. Maybe a better right back than Juranovic wouldn't go amiss. He's 28 years old, 77 overall. I reckon he's at the peak of his ability. Now I'm going to give our strikers one more year to show me what they can actually do, but if the left back scores more goals than both of them, they're getting replaced. But to be fair, I'm thinking of replacing Buffon with somebody younger and better. He is 30 years old, bear in mind, so we're not going to get many years out of him. But this time we've got a far better budget than last year, so hopefully we can improve the team enough to get them back into Europe. Now starting with the right back, I'm going for Bafodi Diakite from Lille. He's 6'1", he's only 23 years old. This guy looks like a powerhouse. He's definitely better than Juranovic. I'm not saying he's going to be our endgame right back, but he'll definitely improve the defense. And boys, for 22.5 million, we have made our first signing in Bafodi Diakite. He's by a mile our most expensive signing up to this point, but I absolutely believe he'll be worth it. And that leaves us with 17 million, but there is a little bit of a dilemma. I've been eyeing up Morgan Gibbs-White as our new central attacking midfielder, but as you can see, he's worth between 34 and 27.4 million. I mean, we could definitely try and negotiate a cheaper deal, but I just don't think we've got the money to pull this off. And even if we sold all the players we're not using in our reserves, I don't even think that would be enough to bring him to the club anyway. So for now at least, we've got to say goodbye to the idea of signing Morgan Gibbs-White, and we've got to find somebody a little bit worse than him and a little bit cheaper. Luckily, I've just found Yassine Adli from Stuttgart. He is 23 years old, 77 overall, and he's worth between 27 and 21.6 million. Now granted, we've only got 17 million, but I reckon with a player swap deal, we may just be able to afford this guy. So I'm going to offer them Buffon and 8 million on top of that. That's 21.5 million in market value, so hopefully they go for it. And it looks like we're happy with that, boys. We're one step closer to signing Yassine Adli. And there we go, boys. Adli is now a Union Berlin player, and that is officially our transfer window wrapped up. And now the team looks like this going into season 2, and I can't lie, boys, I'm very, very happy with how this team is looking right now. Especially our back four and goalkeeper, man. I think that's probably the strongest part of our team. But like I've already said, I'm expecting a big year from these two. If not, they're definitely getting replaced in season 3. Now last year I wasn't fussed how we did in the Bundesliga as long as we didn't do as badly as they were in real life. This year, however, this team has definitely got the quality to get into Europe again next year, so that is absolutely what I want to achieve this season. So boys, the campaign is finished and we are 6th in the league at the end of this season, and we were only a couple of points outside the top 4. Now I'm not sure what 6th place in the Bundesliga actually gets you in terms of European football. All I know is we are in Europe next year. And we only made it to round 3 of the DFB Pokal. Honestly, I'm just beginning to give up even hoping that we're going to do well in these competitions. But just look at the starting 11, man. The improvement has actually been phenomenal. And our strikers finally found the back of the net, especially Kevin Volland getting 29 goal contributions in 35 games. That goal to game ratio is absolutely phenomenal. But boys, we did what we set out to do at the start of season 2, and that's getting European football. But now we've got to make sure this team is ready for that competition, and I think I know just how to do it. So we're now into our 3rd year in charge of Union Berlin, and we've got 61 million to spend. I swear, every single time our budget just gets increased by 20 odd million. And looking at the team, whilst I do think it is bloody good, I said I knew exactly how to improve it if we want to do well in Europe, and that's exactly what we're going to do. To start with, we're going to replace Kevin Volland in that striker role. I know last year he had a phenomenal season, but he's now 77 rated, he's 32 years old, he's on the decline, and I'd be daft not to get somebody younger and better. After that, I'm getting a better goalkeeper than Rono. He's 80 overall, he's 32 years old. I think he's reached the peak of his ability, and we need somebody better if we're going to do well in Europe. Once I've sorted those positions out, I'll revisit the team if we have enough money and see where we can further improve it, but for now, that's all I want to do. And with over 60 million in the budget, I reckon the signings we're going to make will absolutely make the difference to our campaign this year. And to start this transfer window, I'm going for Arnaud Danjuma, who currently plays for Marseille. He's 28, he's 81 rated, he's got some bloody good stats. I feel like he's the perfect replacement for Kevin Volland. And boys, for 30 million euros on the dot, he is now officially playing for Union Berlin. Kevin Volland was a pretty good player for us, but I absolutely believe Danjuma will be able to fill his boots and then some. Now, as for the goalkeeper, I'm going for Luis Maximiano from Lazio. He's 26, he's 81 rated, got some pretty solid stats to go with it, and he's worth between 31 and 25 million. We can absolutely afford this guy. Then again, we've only got 28 million in our budget, so when I say we can absolutely afford him, we may only just be able to afford him. I'm going to start the bid off at 25 million on the dot. Hopefully they don't walk out on this. Now they want Diogo Leite and 11.8 million. I don't really want to get rid of him because he's a decent backup centre back, so we're not going to go for this. Now what if we pushed our offer up to 26.5 million? That's 1 more million they're getting from us. They've actually accepted it. That's absolutely fantastic. We are one step closer to getting a brand new goalkeeper. We've run into a little hiccup, boys. It looks like we aren't able to afford his wages. We are bankrupting ourselves giving him the deal we are offering right now, so hopefully he actually goes for it. And somehow, some way, we have got the deal done. Luis Maximiano is a Union Berlin player now. So we brought in a better striker, and we've now got a better goalkeeper. I know they're not massive names and not big money signings, but I absolutely believe these boys will be crucial to our success this year. And now the team looks like this going into Season 3, and I'll be honest, boys, I'm so happy with the progression and development of this team. Especially Alex Kral, who's now 84 overall. At the start of this video, I said he's one of the players we could build this team around, and I was absolutely spot on. And last year, we qualified for the Europa League. We've been put into Group G alongside SK Sturmgras, Club Brugge, and Apiol FC. Now, I'm realistic. I know we're not good enough yet to win this competition, but I don't want to go out in the prelim round like we did last time. I obviously want to get out to this group, but I also want to make it at least to the semi-finals. I feel like with the squad we've got, that's definitely attainable. And I absolutely want this team to get top 4 in the Bundesliga. I want to get Champions League football for Season 4. And that's exactly what we've done, boys. Second in the league at the end of this campaign, only 4 points off the Bundesliga champions Wolfsburg. Not only have we finished second, we've beaten Bayern Munich, Dortmund, Borussia Mönchengladbach, RB Leipzig, and more importantly, Bayer Leverkusen to that second place position. And we got annihilated in the DFB Pokal 4-2, but you know what? We made the bloody final of the DFB Pokal. That's a massive step in the right direction. As for the Europa League, we do make it to the prelim round after finishing second. Club Brugge just ran away with it though. And in the prelim round, we just about make it past Sporting 5-3 on penalties. I'm not going to lie, boys, we're making this way more difficult for ourselves than it needs to be. But in the round of 16, we do get knocked out by Monaco 4-3 on aggregate, and I'm not going to lie, after the group stage and the prelim round results, I'm not entirely surprised. But having seen the team, boys, I absolutely feel like we should have got further than just the round of 16. This squad is absolutely ridiculous now. And stats-wise, it's pretty impressive, but Robin Gosens is our second top goal scorer, man. How is a fullback getting more goals than our strikers? But brushing everything else aside, we've glossed over the most important detail of this season. We've got Champions League football for Season 4. But I've got to admit, whilst this team is pretty damn good, I'm hoping that budget's on our side next year, because if we want to do well in the Champions League, we do have to make some improvements. So we're now into our 4th year in charge of Union Berlin, and we've got just under 90 million in the budget. I swear, every season, our budget just gets even better. Now, like I said last season, this team is damn good, but now we're in the Champions League, and if we want to do well in that competition, not get annihilated, we do need to make some improvements. Our centre-back Doki being one of them. He's 81 rated, he's 28 years old, he's the weakest link in that back four, and I think we need somebody better. And if we can afford it, I'd like a better defensive midfielder than Toussaint and a better centre midfielder than Leyduni. Everywhere else in this team, I'm happy to leave alone, but those 3 positions in particular, we need to sort out. And with this amount of money to spend, we may just be able to get all 3 positions sorted in Season 4. And starting with the centre mid role, I'm going for Eduardo Bo from from Barcelona. He's only 24, already 82 overall, and his contract's running out, meaning we'll get him much cheaper than his market value. Now I'm starting with a bid of 35 million. That's 6.5 million under his market value. They want 19.7 as well as Laduni. That is not going to happen. Okay, 35 million isn't going to work. What about 36.5 million? That's only 5 mil under his market value. They're sticking to their guns as well. 37.9 million. Shavi, you are so stubborn. Okay, the tension meter isn't that bad. Let's go for 36.75 million. Hopefully he'll budge a little bit now. There we go, you tight git, man. Only 250 grand more and you're happy to let him go. But there he is. Eduardo Bova is now officially a Union Berlin player. We've taken our first step in making this team ready for the Champions League. And that leaves us with 46 million euros to spend. I don't think we're going to be able to fix all three positions like I wanted to, but we can definitely get one more really good signing. And that signing is going to be Joe Gomez from Frankfurt. He's 29 years old, granted, but he's 83 overall, and his stats look bloody amazing. I think he'd fit in at Union Berlin just fine. And boys, for just over 34 million, we have got Gomez on a 4-year contract. And with only 8 million left in our budget, that's our transfer window officially done. And now this is how Union Berlin looks going into season 4, and I can safely say now that this looks like a Champions League team. Obviously, we still got a lot of weaknesses in this starting 11, but for God's sake, we finished above Bayern Munich and Dortmund last year in the Bundesliga. I reckon we've got a good team. And as for the Champions League, we're in Group H alongside United, Ajax and Shakhtar Donetsk, and I'm not going to lie, boys, that's a tough bloody group. But I reckon this time we are strong enough to get out of it. The last thing I want is our first season back in the Champions League, we get grouped again. So boys, season 4 is done and dusted, and we finished second for the second season in a row, 6 points behind Bayern Munich. We just can't win the Bundesliga. But the important thing is we finished above Leverkusen, and that is absolutely fine and dandy with me. But we once again lost in the DFB Pokal, this time 2-1 to Dortmund, man. That's the second year in a row we've lost the DFB Pokal final. We're heading over to the Champions League. We topped Group H with absolutely flying colours alongside Ajax. United go to the Europa League, and we're in the round of 16. And that's where we absolutely batter AS Monaco 5-1 on aggregate, and we get our bloody revenge and we go to the quarters. And that's where we smoke Ajax 4-0 on aggregate. We're in the semi-finals, boys. And just look who's joining us. Chelsea, Real Madrid, Manchester City. We are up against the big boys. In the semis is where we get knocked out. Man City absolutely batter us 5-1 on aggregate in the end, boys. It was simply too much for us in the end. But just look at this starting 11, man. It's absolutely incredible, and I reckon we're only a couple of signings away from taking that extra step and getting to that final. And stats-wise, it's been the best season yet, especially Geraldo Becker gained 23 goals, 5 assists in 45 games. Whilst this season we came so close to winning the Bundesliga and the DFB Pokal once again, I couldn't be happy with how we performed. The transfers we've made this season have massively increased the quality in this starting 11, but we're only a couple away from actually getting to that final. I'm absolutely certain of it. So we're now into our 5th year in charge of Union Berlin, and we've got just under 120 million in our budget. The board have put some serious faith in me, and I'm definitely going to pay it back this year. Now let's be completely honest, this team is absolutely phenomenal, but there's two positions that really let us down in the Champions League last year. The first one being our striker Becker. He's 80 overall, he's the weakest link in the starting 11. If we've got a stronger striker to partner up with Danjuma, we may have got the better of Man City. And Toussaint is definitely a weak link, not only in that midfield but the starting 11 as well, so getting a better defensive midfielder will definitely bode well for us. Aside from those positions, boys, I think the team is absolutely spot on. And with this amount of money to play with, I'm absolutely certain we can solve all of our problems in the starting 11. Now for the CDM, I'm going for Bayern Munich's Konrad Laimer. He's 30 years old, granted, but he's 84 overall, and those stats are absolutely mental. And whilst this is a good signing, it's also a tactical one. It doesn't take it to weaken the opposition in the Bundesliga either, does it? And for a measly 34 million on the dot, we have signed Konrad Laimer on a 3-year contract. That's our CDM sorted. Now we just need a striker, and I think I know exactly who I want to bring in. I want Santiago Jimenez. He's 85 overall at only 26 years old. His stats look absolutely fantastic, but the problem is he's worth between 91.5 and 73.2 million. And we've only got 79 million in our budget, meaning when it comes to negotiations, we're going to have to be at the top of our game. Now I'm going to give them 70 million as well as Jamie Luling. I'm really hoping they'll take this offer. If they did it, it'd be absolutely oh my god, that actually worked first time. Posteglu, you absolutely, I've definitely butchered his name, but I don't even care. We have just got the bargain of a century. And there he is, our latest signing, Santiago Jimenez. He's been absolutely killing it at Feyenoord this season. I'm bringing him to Union Berlin in the hopes that he can win us that Champions League. And now the team looks like this after that transfer window comes to an end, and I absolutely believe this team is ready to not only win the Bundesliga but the Champions League this time. And one thing that's gone under the radar, look at the suspense, man. I know we really haven't focused on it, but it is looking pretty damn good. I fully believe this is the year we win silverware, man. This team is too goddamn good not to. And in the Champions League, we're in Group H alongside Barcelona, Fenerbahce and FC Copenhagen. And it's a slightly easier group this time. I absolutely expect to make it out of it, but this time I want to get further than the semi-finals. I want to make it to the Champions League final. And like I've already said, boys, I absolutely believe this is the team to do it. If it isn't, I'll be absolutely gut-wrenched. Well, boys, we're not off to a good start. We're 4th in the Bundesliga at the end of this season, 9 points behind league leaders Bayern Munich. I'm slowly starting to give up on the idea of actually winning the Bundesliga at this point. And we somehow only made it to round 2 of the DFB Pokal. How do we have the best team we've ever had and do this badly? Honestly, if this is a reflection of how we've done in the Champions League, I'm not getting my hopes up. But we do start off in brilliant fashion. 5 wins, 1 draw from 6 games. We go to the round of 16 undefeated. And we batter Spurs 3-0 on aggregate, and we go to the quarters, where we have an absolute war with PSG and beat them 6-5 on aggregate. Boys, we're in the semi-final. And we're there with Juve, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. But I'm not being funny. We've just beaten PSG. I feel like we can beat absolutely anybody at this point. And we've beaten Juve 3-2 in the semi-finals of the Champions League. We're against Bayern Munich in the Champions League final. Oh, boys, this is poetic, man. The one team that stopped us from winning the Bundesliga all this time, we finally get to have our chance of revenge in the Champions League final. But I've got to say, boys, these stats, considering we've made the Champions League final, are absolutely abysmal. But you can't take away how good this team has actually become, man. From season 1 to now, this team has been transformed. Our weakest player is 84 rated Robin Gosens, for God's sake. That's how good this team has become. And granted, up to this point, we haven't been doing very well with Union Berlin. We haven't won any trophies so far with them. But we have a massive chance now to change that, as we've got the opportunity to win the biggest trophy at club level, the Champions League. Bayern Munich is starting this game pretty strong on the left-hand side of the pitch. Great tackle from Diakite. Look at that. Pushing forward with Alex Kral now. We're going to go in the centre. Not where I intended it, but we can't quite get it through. Alex Kral's on the ball. That's a beautiful ball to Santiago Jimenez. Just beaten to by the defender. Eduardo Bove's now on the ball. We may as well be playing counter-attacking football for how much press we just soaked up. But look at him go. Oh my God. Eduardo Bove is absolutely running right on this right-hand side of the pitch. He's come inside. Santiago Jimenez on the right. Oh my God! On his left foot, he bangs it top right bins. All that came from Eduardo Bove. What a run from the youngster. He passes it inside. He finds Santiago Jimenez. I initially thought he dragged it a bit too far on his left, but he didn't. He wraps his foot round it and he smashes it top right bins. Considering the fact we spent majority of this off on the back foot and we're the ones 1-0 up, that's mental. Robin Gosens is on the ball now. He's found Lima against his former club. I tell you what, he's looking for that 1-2 and he's found it. We're going to try and cut this back. Okay, we found Jimenez once again. Inside one. Oh, one too many. Adley is on the ball. He's looking for a run. Can we find it? Yes, we can. Eduardo Bove. He's going to cut inside. Jimenez has picked it up. Oh, my God. Look at this from Jimenez. Oh, can we get it? Oh, my days. I should have just had a shot with him. Adley's on the ball now early in the second half. Still 53 minutes. I tell you what, that's beautiful. First touch of absolute dream. Santiago Jimenez on his left foot. Great save from Mamardashvili. Alex Kral's on the ball now. Jimenez. Okay, this is our time to attack. Diakite's picked it up on the right side of the pitch. He's going to cut inside. This is nice. Eduardo Bove. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, this is beautiful one touch. Actually, Santiago Jimenez on his right. Oh, my God. What an opportunity that was. Bayern Munich have basically pegged us in our half for the majority of this game, but have had no chances. But every time we've gone up the other end, we've had opportunities. See that? Oh, look at that for a switch. Gosens picks it up. He's going to go. Oh, has he still got it? Yes, he has. Oh, my God. He can get it. He can get the second here. Oh, my God. I thought that was him for sure. We have less than 3 minutes to hold on to this lead, and we are lifting that Champions League trophy. But that's a ball in. Nobody's there, though. He's come outside. Danjuma's there. It's still loose. Eduardo Bove. What is going on? Is this table tennis with your heads? Eduardo Bove's picked it up on the right. Oh, my God. That could have been the second. But look at the time, boys. This has to be the last kick of the game. Surely to God. Bayern Munich are playing around with it, and that's not what they need to do, because that is the full-time whistle. Union Berlin have won the Champions League, beating Bayern Munich in the final, and we've made them the best team in the world. It took us 5 seasons to do it, 5 long-ass seasons, taking this absolutely average team in Season 1 and making them the Champions League winners in Season 5. But now that you've watched me do this with Union Berlin, you should definitely click here to watch me take over Wrexham for 10 seasons.